This podcast is a production of Unfiltered Studios. If you would like to know more about joining Unfiltered Studios, please visit our website at unfpod.com for more information.
This episode of the Fandalorian podcast is brought to you by the Adler Real Estate Team. If you live in New York, anywhere between Manhattan and Montauk, and are looking to buy or sell, you need to call the Adler Real Estate Team. This real estate company is run by a husband and wife duo that, in addition to being real estate agents, are also a public school teacher and a police officer. It is a family-run business that gives you the attention and care you need when you're about to make one of the most important decisions of your life. And I know from experience. Also, if you mention that you are a fan of the Fandalorians, they will be able to get you up to $2,000 back at closing. It doesn't matter if you're buying or listing. So, if you are buying or selling anywhere from Manhattan to Montauk, call the Adler Real Estate Team at 631-384-6372. Or check out the website at adlerrealestateteam.com. Mention the Fandalorians and save today.
Welcome back, class. On today's episode, we discuss some current events, from Diddy's behavior to Mike Tyson, Jake Paul's fight, to Bridgerton's episode drop, underperforming movies, and some movie trailers. All this and more in a Diddy Needs a Behavior Chart episode of The Fandalorians. Teachers by day, nerds by night.
That is the bell. Class is in session. Welcome to the Fandalorians podcast, Teachers by Day, Nerds by Night, proud part of the Unfiltered Studios podcasting network. It still is, guys. We haven't lost a step here. The number one public school teacher pop culture fandom podcast in the country. Give you all the latest news in the worlds of entertainment, lively discussion on all manners of pop culture and fandom. Now, we get new listeners all the time. Let me introduce myself. I'm doing it already, guys. My name is Mr. Richardson, fourth grade teacher and a man who's excited about this episode. That's the most boring one I've done, though. That's really
so. By default, this says that you are not excited about every other episode.
I could care less about the other ones. I really.
All right, that's true. Live in the moment.
You know what it is? I find, when we were preparing for this one, I say we by myself because we weren't together for this part. I like it when we have like a whole bunch of quick hit things. I just like the whole range of things that are here, especially when there's stuff that's not just a trailer, which we have, but like something, a current event thing. I don't know. I just get excited for these things. I always got thoughts. I love it. Co-teaching with me, New York City public school teacher and the man who knows what it feels like to be a ghost, Mr. McDonald. This is a Whoopi Goldberg reference. I'm not sure.
No, it's not. Honestly, it's the best way to really think about. It's like listening to a podcast of your friends. I had so many things I wanted to say, and I was like speaking them, but nobody heard it. So I felt like a ghost.
We did Ghostbusters. That's right. That was the last one. And you listened. What do you want to say? Here's the floor. Go ahead. Give us something.
Well, I mean, number one, I thought you guys did a fantastic job. But then, you go through and, favorite quotes, and, there's 10,000 of them. And none of you actually mentioned my favorite quote. When I was a kid, my favorite quote from Ghostbusters was, "He slimed me." Because that was the goofiest thing ever.
Yes, and I was thinking about that, because as a kid, those are the things that you cling on to. It's just like, as a kid, I loved the Ewoks. It was like they were the most awesome thing. But I think maybe adults were like, man, these things are corny. As a kid, but Slimer was awesome.
Yeah, but now my favorite line is actually the line after that. He goes, "He slimed me." And then after a perfect Bill Murray beat, he just goes, "I feel so funky." And I think it's also just I've watched Ghostbusters so often that now I look for something new to laugh at, and that line for some reason just cracks me up. But yeah, I thought you guys were fantastic on it. It was a great movie to review because if you haven't seen Ghostbusters by now, you must be living under a rock or like under the age of 25, I suppose. But you guys did a great job.
My other co-teacher, second grade teacher, the man who finished listening to The Rose Code by Kate Quinn, Mr. J.
Yes, I just finished it. It was The Rose Code was published in 2021, and it is not necessarily direct follow-up, but I read the Alice Network also by Kate Quinn, and this is the same period, World War II. It had she was a code breaker, so it was very interesting. It was a good story. It was enjoyable.
How many hours?
Oh, this was a 12-hour, 15-hour book, I think. You know, it takes place. It takes place in the main character. His name is Beth. She's English, and it takes place. It focuses on 3 women who work at this estate called Bletchley Park. And in Britain, Bletchley Park was where code breakers were trying to crack the Enigma codes through either the Italian Enigma machine. They had the Nazi Enigma machine, and it's an actual real thing. And the book is loosely based on people. One of the 3 main characters, Osla, was a real person. And Beth was based off of 2 people. And Mab, she was the culmination of all of the unsung female heroes of World War II that worked in the military machine, so to speak. But even it's like you can go to England now and you can tour the place. And Kate Middleton's grandmother worked there. And when she had learned about what her grandmother had done during World War II, she became interested in it. And that's how the whole story came about, where there was all this work being done. And the author thought it was super interesting. Like Kate Middleton has a direct connection to this. It was a very interesting book. It was a good, I enjoyed it. I'm not sure. I know I said the other day that Alice Network is a Reese Witherspoon book. So
you think this is going to get turned into a movie or a series?
I don't know if this one is.
What would you think if you had to do it?
That was literally going to be the question I asked. You always ask how long, and I'm always wondering that.
Okay, so it could be a movie, but I think a prestige series would be great. Like a limited series. That's
like
what
Apple
these
Plus.
days. Yeah, Apple Plus. Not Apple Plus because I don't have it.
My wife loves Apple. Apple Plus has been doing a lot of historical drama series. They did the fighter pilots in World War II.
I wanted to watch that.
Yeah, which we're still watching. It's pretty good. Mm-hmm. There is the one with not Lee Harvey Oswald, the one who killed Lincoln. John Wilkes Booth. There's that one. They have a bunch of historical dramas. So that seems like right up their alley.
My son is watching Chernobyl in school.
I really liked Chernobyl.
And he said they're on episode 3. And I'm like, that's Disney Plus. That's Apple Plus too, right?
No, that was
Chernobyl?
HBO.
Oh, HBO Max. All right.
Yeah.
I guess I'll wait to bundle it into my Disney Plus in a month or so.
Well, in a few months when there's only 2 streaming services that are left.
Yeah, we'll figure it out. But it was a great listen. I really enjoyed it.
How can you support the show? You start by asking your child's teacher if they need anything. We always say tissues, but honestly, we're towards the end of the year. They definitely need something. You're getting close. Maybe some boxes. You never know. People moving around.
Yeah, regular boxes.
Around. Yeah. Hold on. It's funny you say that. Today we were talking about when myself and another teacher first moved into our building, and they asked Mrs. McDonald, "Hey, do you remember when I moved in?" And she said, "Yes." And then she had made a comment about something, and she's like, "Yeah, you remember you put out that note to the parents because I was pregnant with Ryan and I had to move." And she said, "Hey, bring in your wine boxes because I need moving boxes." And just they laughed over it.
Nice.
I mean, if you could just bring in wine boxes full of wine.
Exactly. I'll empty it for you, and I'll use the box to pack up my school supplies.
Bring the wine. Anyway, Tell them the Mandalorian sent you when you come help them out. And then after you give them the wine, then check out our merch by heading to TeePublic. The link is in our store. The link to our storefront is in the bio. And as always, all the proceeds go to Laney's Legacy of Hope, which is a nonprofit organization that engages in fundraisers and activities to provide assistance to families with someone suffering from pediatric cancer. We say it all the time. It's a volunteer run. There's no CEO, no board, no people like taking the money and not giving it to the right people. Our cut from our merch, guys. I'm actually going to buy merch tomorrow. That's it. I've never bought anything yet.
There you go.
I still have it. I say it. My daughter has it. My daughters have them. One of my daughter's friends. I'm going to break down, guys. It's time to happen.
I have a t-shirt and a sweatshirt.
Yeah, I'm going to support the show. It's about time. I'm telling us how to support the show. I've never supported my own show. So yeah, get the merch. Money goes to Ladies Legacy Hope. I'm donating tomorrow. Finally, if you live on Long Island, check out Red Shirt Comics in downtown Port Jeff, the official comic book shop of the Fandalorians, because he listens all the time and he loves us and we love him. So check out the shop. And if you don't live on Long Island, there's local comic shops. Please support them because that makes us happy. That's it, guys. A lot of stuff to get to, things to talk about. The title of this episode is really funny to me. But before we get to that, it's time for the morning announcements.
Mandalorian fans, won't you lend me an ear? I hope this podcast sound is crystal clear. Now listen up, people, I got something to say. These are the morning announcements for today.
Diddy did it. I don't know why I'm laughing, but it's just a weird story. All right. For those of you who don't know this whole story at all, let me just break it down for you. I got some details to map it out of what's going on, more or less the timeline. First of all, Sean, we used to call him Puff, but now it's Diddy Combs. His ex-girlfriend, Cassie, whose full name is Cassie Ventura, released a statement on social media following the release of the hotel surveillance footage that appeared to show Diddy allegedly, not even appeared, assaulting her in the hallway. An Instagram post, she thanked family, friends, and strangers and those people who she has yet to meet for all the love and support. Again, this R&B singer is going to take the time she needs and hopes people continue to take this matter seriously. Basically, Puffy and Cassie split for good in 2018, but their relationship was on and off. She was 19 when he met her, and she filed a lawsuit on November 16th claiming that Combs assaulted and abused her during their time together. She said he had uncontrollable rage. He was violent. He kicked her, sometimes from the staff and employees at Bad Boys Entertainment. Puffy released a statement on an Instagram post literally saying this is not true. It's just a money grab, blah, blah, blah. But they settled out of court. In the lawsuit, she alleged that he attacked her in the hotel, and somehow CNN got the video, and it shows Puffy running down the hallway in a towel and shirtless as she's trying to, looks like, escape. He drags her from the elevator. He grabs her by her neck, throws her on the ground, punches her, kicks her several times when she's on the floor. He drags her down the hallway. He throws a glass vase in her direction. All these crazy, crazy things. So our prompt is this. We've seen celebrities do terrible things, and somehow people seem to accept them back. I find it to be the weirdest thing. Like Chris Brown was accepted back. Cosby wasn't. Do you think we've seen the last of Diddy? Do you think the public will somehow accept him back from this? What are your thoughts?
Well, I mean, it's funny they even have a term for it. It's just like entertainment jail. And so you do something horrible, you do something that's stupid, and, you go off the grid for a little while. Like, I honestly think Will Smith's kind of in entertainment jail right now. But Mel Gibson was in entertainment jail, and now he's not. Now he can kind of start working again. With the release of this video coming out, it's really going to be really, really hard for Diddy to kind of come back from this. I mean, this is something that could result in jail time. And the thing that bothers me is when Diddy talks about my only ask is that everyone open your heart to believing victims the first time. That was what she said, because what has a tendency to happen is people love blaming the victim. And as someone who's taught law for several years now, you see this all the time. They're like, well, if she knew he was so bad, she shouldn't have been there. And you cannot blame anyone for what happens to them. They don't deserve it. And I don't know. I don't think Diddy's going to be able to come back from this one. I don't know. What do you guys think?
I'm kind of in agreement with that idea because he said he didn't do it, he didn't do it, he didn't do it. And then there's now the video that shows that he was lying all along, where these other people, such as you happen to mention Mel Gibson, it was his issue started with the release of a video. And then same thing with Kevin Spacey, which sad, and I'm saying sad isn't pathetic. He was whining that, hey, how come this person came back and that person came back? How come I can't come back?
Well, that's called whataboutism. It's literally an argument.
I know it was so pathetic, but it's the same idea. Like, you know, the difference to me, I think, with this is the fact that P. Diddy denied everything, denied it, and then the video comes out and he's like, I apologize.
He loses all credibility.
Yeah, so I think he's personally, that to me is put a fork in it.
I agree with everything you guys said. I think the big thing is, you know, it's assault. It's on camera. Unlike a lot of things like Mel Gibson, we heard the audio, things like that. When you're assaulting people and not slapping Chris Rock, when you're assaulting people, especially a man assaulting a woman to this level, you don't usually walk away from this because it's on tape. Like that one NFL player punched his girlfriend in the elevator.
That's what I was gonna bring up.
He was
Ray
done.
Rice.
You know, Chris
Remember,
Brown.
he initially got like a 1-game suspension
Until
and then
it
the
came
video
out.
was released, and then they were like,
People
all right,
don't
you're done
believe-
forever.
People don't, you know, people need to see it. It's wrong because it clearly happened. They need to see it. He's not going to go to jail for this because the statute of limitations has expired, which is why the video suddenly gets out. Because I'm telling you right now, this is a clear case of the log on. Because remember, they had the raid on his house. And the way this is, apparently,
Which is completely independent from this, by the way.
Yeah, apparently he paid off the hotel when this happened for the tape. So he had the tape, and then when the raid happened, he lost stuff. And I'm sure someone saw the tape going, okay, this is never going to get out, but the court of public opinion is not going to forget this. So this is going to just be released.
Yeah, so legally, nothing's going to happen, but the court of public opinion.
He's done.
Yeah, he's already
I don't think we'll see him anymore. I have a bigger issue, too, with her statement that there's people around who saw this happen and said nothing. That is the weakest thing. They should go to jail, too. That is the weakest thing possible because they should have spoken out if you saw it. You cannot turn a blind eye to a woman being beaten and decide, well, I'm not going to say anything about it. Doesn't work. Don't tell me about the stupid people who like to come forward and say, oh, well, they signed an NDA. That does not protect you from crime. So if you witness someone being assaulted, that is a crime. That NDA does not count. People think it's some sort of hard thing to lock you in. If you witness an assault or an attack or someone gets shot and, oh, well, they signed a non-disclosure agreement, so I can't talk about him beating someone to a bloody pulp. Not true. Absolutely not true. They could
Jimmy,
have come forward
legally speaking, witnessing a crime and not intervening is not a crime.
You cannot come forward now and say all these statements. I'm talking about the people who are now coming forward saying, oh, I saw Diddy did this and I saw Diddy do that. And I'm not, the people who were there who watched, it's not a crime. They don't have to go to jail. They should be in trouble. But if you're now coming forward to make your statements about it, but you saw it back
it's cowardly.
Then, yeah. And you say the non-disclosure agreement is the reason why I didn't talk. No, that's it. You can't. That thing does not protect you from that sort of thing.
I mean, everyone was kind of scared of Diddy too because he's wealthy, he's got power, and now everyone loves kicking somebody when they're down. They can kick them because they're like, well, I'm not scared of him anymore.
Yeah, but I mean, if you watched it, I can't imagine watching that and being like, I'm not going to say anything. I don't care how much they're paying me. I don't know. That's just me. Bye, Diddy. Bye. It's okay. He can go away.
I had a question.
He's going to move his clip, Mr. Richardson.
Oh yeah, he's going to move his. We talked about earlier before we got on the podcast about how, like, in some elementary little kid classrooms younger than the one I teach, they have a little bear, and if the bear is near the honey, you had a good day. But when you get in trouble, your bear has to go sit in the cave because he's made a bad decision. So Diddy's bear needs to be in the cave. Go away, Diddy.
Bars
in the cave. Yeah, sit in the cave for a long time.
His card went from green to red.
Yeah, we flipped it over. What's your question?
If Will Smith went up to Chris Rock and smacked him with like a glove, would that have changed the whole thing? Like a duel, like in the olden times, and they slapped him with the glove and they throw it down as like a sign of
well, it would be classier. I think it would change things.
If he just went over there, took off a glove, and then smacked him with the glove.
I challenge you to a duel, sir.
Okay, we go from Puffy to Tyson. Listen, all the 90s people are back.
No,
This
ready?
one-
The better transition is Jake Paul's going to look puffy after he fights Mike Tyson.
I like that. You know what? That's the best option. Mike Tyson, who is 57 years old, is taking on Jake Paul, who is 27 years old. It's somewhat of a gap. I think it's really 30 years this time. Did I do it right? I actually did the math right.
The math right.
No, you have to say 40 years now, just to make up for it.
They are currently boxing on, not currently, but they're going to be boxing on Netflix.
July 20th.
July 20th, again, less than 2 months away. The former heavyweight champion is going to face Jake Paul. It's interesting. Now, Jake Paul, is again more of a villain in this. People hate him. People do not want Mike Tyson to lose to him. It's a sanctioned fight by the Texas Department of Licensing and Regulation. It's going to, it's not going to do the normal 3-minute rounds. Instead, it's going to be 8 2-minute rounds. Both boxers will use 14-ounce gloves that are heavier than usual. It's going to be at the ATM Stadium in Arlington, Texas. The trash talking has been exciting. Mr. G, what do you want to say about this?
I've been watching it on TikTok. It's where I consume most of my social media these days. Been watching it on TikTok, and like Jake Paul is like just so calm, and he's sitting there and he's like being very calm about it. As Tyson is like, and he said it multiple times. He's like, "Yeah, well, I'm gonna fight him, but he's gonna fight like his life depends on it, because it does." I don't know. I feel like our generation is like, yeah, I think it kind of does. His life is going to depend on it. Then there's people that think Jake Paul's going to win. And I don't understand that. Like, is it the fact that we grew up playing Mike Tyson's Punch Out? And like you get up to Tyson and you just get smacked around, grown up watching him do those fights, Iron Mike Tyson. I don't care if he's got 30 years on him. I feel like he's going to wreck him.
I am watching Mike Tyson train makes me think that this fight isn't going to happen, because I think Jake Paul is going to, at the very last minute, be like, he's going to murder me. I'm going to bail out of this fight.
No, there's too much money in it.
So I know. Well, so I have an even better idea. Mike Tyson should fight Jake Paul and Logan Paul at the same time.
With one hand tied around his back.
No, but I think that would make it more fair. Or, ready? What is it? 8 rounds? Every third round, he fights both of them at the same time.
Something. I saw some highlights. Someone spliced the highlight reel of Jake Paul's first professional fight, and then played Mike Tyson's first professional fight. And it is like, I can't even describe the difference of how they looked, how he fought, how it went, how everything was about it. Like, I don't understand why people even think that Jake Paul has a chance.
No one thinks Jake Paul really has a chance. I think they think that this fight is really scripted. Now, if I'm Mike Tyson, I would be insulted by that, because you're like, number one, this guy thinks he could casually come over and dominate in boxing. I'm going to show him what boxing is really like. Yeah. Because it reminds me, Mr. Richardson, you know who Brian Scaberlini is, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, what he does on TikTok now is he issues a challenge to anyone who wants to play him. So he gets a lot of these like hoopers that were like good in high school, and they're like, I could take him. And what he does is he destroys anyone who chooses to play him, like 13-0 every time, because that's how good NBA basketball players are. The best NBA basketball player could destroy any of your like friends who are good at basketball. And I feel like that's the difference between Mike Tyson, even at 57, and Jake Paul.
I think the fact that if this was a pay-per-view event, I feel like it would be like a scam to make it go the distance. But because this is on Netflix, I hope he lays him out early in the first round.
Yeah. But I have an idea for Netflix, though. What I think Netflix should do is, after Mike Tyson like destroys this guy, it should be Mike Tyson versus the world. This is his series. And every 3 months, he fights somebody.
I don't know what the normal average time before a fighting goes, but I think
No, but
that's
not like real boxers. It's, and you know, you put your name in a raffle and he pulls out and then it says, all right, Mike Tyson's going to fight Charlie Giannone.
I think that could go horribly wrong. I don't know.
No, but you don't think people are going to watch that?
Yeah, but I think this is
Or do it the other way. Ready? Mike Tyson versus the world, and it's Mike Tyson fights a kangaroo. Mike Tyson fights a bear. Mike Tyson fights a python. Whatever.
hopefully Tyson just goes out on top. That's all I want, because it's
he never. No, look, if there's one thing you know about boxers is that nothing ends good. It ends horribly for every boxer.
exactly. So hopefully he takes this fight, and then we don't need Mike Tyson fights the world. But I'd watch a documentary on him.
All right, next on the list for today is let's talk about Netflix's Bridgerton. Netflix's Bridgerton dropped their first 4 episodes of their season. So the first season of Bridgerton had 8 episodes, which came out together on Christmas 2020. Season 2 also had 8 episodes, and they dropped in bulk as well on March 25th, 2022. So fans are wondering why Bridgerton Season 3 only has 4 episodes and whether more episodes are going to be coming out in the future. Over the years, Bridgerton has become one of the most popular shows in the world, so Netflix's decision to split the 3rd season into 2 parts likely stems from that popularity. In the past, the streaming giant has split the seasons of The Crown, Stranger Things, The Witcher, to name a few. Here's the prompt for today. Mr. G, you have watched the first 4 episodes. Do you wish you had all 8 episodes right now? Or are you happy with the break and you're ready to wait for the rest of season 3? What do you think?
So I forgot how much I loved Bridgerton. You watched it, you got the feels, it's got everything. It brings it all back to life for you. And then the soundtrack, and I remember hearing Cheap Thrills by the orchestra was playing it at one point during a dance thing in one of the episodes. And I immediately got out my phone. I'm like, you know what? I want to see an orchestra. I'd go to a concert of Bridgerton songs played by an orchestra. So I started Googling. And they had one in Manhattan, but it has since closed their rundown. I was texting another friend about it, and she found this company that an orchestra, I guess you want to call them an orchestra. It's called Candlelight, and they play tribute bands. They're like a tribute band.
Oh, that's cool.
And one I thought was a tribute to Nirvana was coming up, but they play a lot of Coldplay or anything like that.
Okay.
But they didn't actually have a Bridgerton one because they got sued. The one that was running in Manhattan got sued for rights by Netflix. They actually were sued by Netflix.
Oh, I'm sure they got to protect.
Yeah, but it was great. These first 4 episodes was everything that Bridgerton has to offer, and I enjoyed it thoroughly. And I thought to myself, they want to create the buzz around it, and I would prefer.
Would you want it to be weekly?
Yes, I would prefer it be weekly over the split. I'm done now. I'm waiting. I feel like it takes the gas out of it. It's one thing when it's weekly and just waiting a week to watch it. I watched 2 episodes back to back on Saturday. Then I watched 1 episode one night, then another episode the other night, and now I'm done. I'm like,
You're like,
now I gotta
what?
wait. Yeah, now what? Now I gotta wait how many weeks until it comes out? So, some people have already said, I'm just gonna wait to watch them all when they come out. And some people said, I already watched all 4.
Right.
So I think I would prefer to have it weekly over this big, long wait.
Well, I mean, look, I like what Amazon has been doing where they drop 3 and then they go weekly. I think that's a nice little strategy. But
I do like that too.
This does remind me a lot of Invincible. And that was a major problem with Invincible is they had a 6-month break between the episode 4 and episode 5. Now, for them, that was not a choice. That had to happen. The animation wasn't quite ready yet. Stick to weekly. I think it really works. And it's only a matter of time before Netflix becomes a weekly release. And it's going to happen. It's because what's old is new.
All right. So for anyone who hasn't watched Bridgerton yet, get on it.
A lot of stuff coming out. I put it in the books. The other thing I'm putting in the books as well is September 6th. On that date, BeetleJuice is coming out. Once again, directed by Tim Burton. He's obviously back. It's the sequel to the film from 1988. Michael Keaton's back. Winona Ryder's back. Catherine O'Hara's back. Jenna Ortega and William Dafoe are now here.
When I was a teenager, a trickster demon terrorized our entire family and tried to force me to marry him. I believed he was gone forever until you found this in the attic.
Ew. Who's BeetleJuice?
Don't ever say that name.
BeetleJuice.
No, Astrid, I am serious. If you say his name 3 times, he will appear.
BeetleJuice.
The juice is loose.
September 6th, 2024. Again, it's when it's coming out. We just watched the trailer. Initial thoughts, guys.
So I initially thought Jenna Ortega was going to be the main character, but while watching this trailer, it's more seems like Winona Ryder's character, reprising her role, is going to be the main character. And I think the best part is that how they wrote off the dad was by saying he had died, Grandpa had died, because he's another one that went to jail, movie jail. What you call it? Cinematic jail?
Movie jail.
Yeah, he ain't coming out.
Yeah.
Wait, who?
Entertainment
Alec
jail.
Baldwin, he's got some demons of his own to fight right now.
Yeah, but it's not even that. The guy who played Mr. Rooney, who was the original, was her grandpa. He is in entertainment jail. Like,
no, her father is Alec Baldwin. Winona Ryder's dad is parents with Gina Davis and Alec Baldwin.
Alec Baldwin's the ghost. Who
Alec
died.
Baldwin is Gina Davis's husband.
The ghost.
Oh, that's right. I got it
It
wrong.
was
You're
Mr.
right.
Rooney.
Yeah. Oh, Mr. Rooney. Yeah.
Mr. Rooney.
Oh, so I take all that back. Yeah,
Stay
Mr.
Up.
Rooney's in. He's not in entertainment jail. He's in jail.
Yeah. Yeah.
And he's going to stay there.
Yeah.
So I thought that was kind of clever. But I think it looks great.
I appreciate the fact that they appeared to be using the old style special effects when they were trapped in whatever
sandworm thing.
The sandworms, they look like the puppets from the past. They're bringing back the classics, like does this look like a joke? And you see almost look like the rubbers coming out of the mask, everything. I appreciate the fact that they're just going to go with the classics, give it the beats we want. I don't know the plot yet. That's okay. He's free. Sounds like fun.
You kind of know the plot.
Yes, and we have a guest coming on who's already talking about coming on to do it with us. So we're going to have to see it, but I am excited about it though.
Yeah.
Donald, your thoughts?
Look, I thought the same thing as you, Mr. Richardson. I was very excited for that. And first thing I noticed is Michael Keaton. He just has to wear less makeup than he did, 30 years ago. Because he already kind of looks old.
Shots fired at Keaton.
Well, and now he's like, no, I'm not coming on the show. Forget it. I was thinking about this with Ghostbusters as well. If you took away all the jokes from Ghostbusters, it was legitimately a scary movie. And just when they summarized the plot of this movie and the first movie in the trailer, that's a frightening movie when she's like, he came to visit and I had to marry him and he's a demon. And because I remember being a kid, like being legit scared of Beetlejuice. And it was funny, but it was scary too.
I also like the beat where she's telling him not to say the name, and the classic teenager is going to keep saying it.
Of course she is. Yeah.
And we're like, teenagers, no, you're not. This is serious. Beetlejuice, like, what do you do? Yeah. We all have teenagers here. We know exactly what that's like.
She didn't know. See, it is funny when she said I had to marry him. I was thinking about their relationship. And to me, when I think about Beetlejuice, because I watched so many cartoons, I used to watch the Beetlejuice cartoons Saturday mornings.
Yeah.
And they were pals and friends and having a good time running around. So they didn't have this hate relationship or being afraid. So for that quick second, I'm like, I don't remember that relationship going that way. But
I mean, it's funny how the 80s would make a Saturday morning cartoon of anything. It would be like Freddy Krueger and Friends.
Like Slimer was the ghost they hunted in the movie, but Slimer was their best buddy.
Yeah, he was the dog.
He was Ray. Yeah, he was just hanging out in the cartoon version. So yeah.
But it looks entertaining. It looks fun. I love Michael Keaton. I'd watch it even if we didn't have to watch it to review it.
Another classic coming back, Beverly Hills Cop, Axel Foley.
Foley.
Did you say Foley? Foley! You stole a helicopter!
I didn't realize that you couldn't really fly a helicopter. Otherwise, I would have came up with a different idea. I told you it was a bad idea.
You know, this is very embarrassing. You know, part of me rather get locked up than get put in this little Fisher-Price-looking squad car. Y'all are the Lego cops.
Getting us some backup.
God, I missed you, Axel.
Okay, Axel Foley's returned to Beverly Hills after his daughter's life is threatened. She and Axel team up with her ex-boyfriend, even though that wasn't in the trailer that we saw, and his old pals Taggart and Rosewood to turn up the heat and uncover a conspiracy. I'm a big fan of watching this live with you guys and then talking about it because it's fresh. Because I can't remember stuff now. I'm getting old. Yeah, I actually really like that trailer. I like the old beats there, the music, the neutron dance, the songs, the whole thing. It was funny. It was clean, but I know it's a commercial, so it's that. It's on Netflix, which I already have, so I'm going to watch it. It's definitely going to be better than Third, and I love the look he gave when he said it in 1994, like, because we don't talk about Beverly Hills Cop 3, which was a terrible film.
Oh, Beverly Hills Cop 1 and 2 were fantastic.
3 was horrible.
Number 3 exists.
Everyone's back. I'm in for it, McDonald.
Yeah, I mean, look, you forget how funny and charming Eddie Murphy is. Even in his, like, when he was in the 90s making terrible movies, he was still funny and charming in those terrible movies. And here, it's just, let him cook, hit some of the old beats, have some of the old characters. I had almost no expectations for this movie before I saw this trailer. I didn't even want to see the trailer. And then I watched it today and I was like, yeah, I'm definitely going to go see that. So it did its job. It whetted my appetite. And you're like, remember this character that you love? Like that Lego Cops joke? That's a 10 out of 10 right there. That's hysterical. Funny. And look, Netflix is smart. They're saving it for 4th of July weekend. I think it's going to do big numbers. Charlie, what do you think?
My only complaint is I felt like we watched the entire movie. They're like, what's left? What did they leave?
You gotta be
for
nervous about knowing so much of the plot. But they didn't tell you everything. They didn't tell you that Joseph Gordon-Levitt is the boyfriend.
Yeah, well, now you told me. Now I know everything.
Yeah, exactly.
The only thing they forgot to leave was the scene when he jokes about putting the banana in the tailpipe.
Because it's gonna happen.
It's gonna happen. But they might as well just put that into the clip because we know.
I don't know if you guys noticed in the trailer is that some of this movie takes place in Detroit. And so it's a fish out of water the opposite way. So now Axel is at home and apparently Joseph Gordon-Levitt is the fish out of water here. And I think that's an interesting little turn on that.
I think it's going to be a great movie. Yes. I think it's going to be a good fun movie to watch.
This is my only complaint is I kind of wish they got a bigger or better actor than Joseph Gordon-Levitt because I don't think he's that funny, honestly.
Oh, I disagree. I was happy to notice him because I was like, oh, I haven't seen you in a while. I'm happy with that choice.
But does he need this movie more than the movie needs him?
But he's not the lead, though. Yeah,
I know, but he is.
But he probably has a big enough part.
Yeah.
But it's Netflix. There's no box office. So
it's true. Yeah, and they'll never tell us what it's really, really doing.
Like, no one is torn and like Eddie Murphy's in it. Beverly Hills Cop, Axel Foley, no. But then Jordan Levitt, like he's not the tipping scale to get someone to watch.
No. I get it.
Like sprinkles on something.
You know who I wish with that part were instead? Watch this transition, Mr. Richardson. I wish it were Ryan Gosling. I know that's what we're talking about next, but Ryan Gosling has the chops for it. He has the comedic chops. He has the star power. And I think that would push that movie to the top. So it's not a bomb like potentially Fall Guy is.
And the fact that it's going to be straight to streaming, which is where his latest film went after only 3 weeks. Ryan Gosling and Emily Blunt's The Fall Guy is streaming now. This is shocking for the film, which debuted in theaters less than 3 weeks ago. And then this is May 23rd when we're recording this. They're releasing Fall Guy on digital platforms so soon. It's interesting choice. Again, it opens up to the film to a wider audience as viewers can watch it from the comfort of their own homes, pay like 2 ticket prices to get it. To date, Fall Guy has grossed 127.5 million worldwide. This is after debuting to 27.7 million domestically. During the second weekend, 50% drop, grossing 13 million. Overall, after 17 days in theaters, the film has made just under 63. Domestically, certainly disappointing. They were likely hoping that the star power of Gosling and Blunt, coming off the Barbie Oppenheimer run with both of them, would carry this to box office success. And at least the Fall Guys digital release will feature benefits for those who purchase it. The film, which costs $30 to purchase on Apple TV, where they don't make it available to rent yet, has 20 more minutes of film. And the concern is going out, is this going to be a problem for other tentpole films moving forward? Like, all right, so guys, problem, Deadpool, Wolverine, Inside Out 2, these movies coming up. Is this an issue? McDonald, what do you think?
I don't think it's a problem. I think it's a changing in the way in which we digest movies. Now, you're burying the lead when you're saying that this movie is going on streaming after 3 weeks. Yes, it is available on streaming, but for $30. It's not like you can rent it for $4. So it's still going to make money because I think it's getting excellent reviews. I want to see it. I'll probably, if there's a rainy day this Memorial Day, I will probably spend the money and watch it. Well, it'll be like a date for Lauren and I without having to actually leave the house, which are now my favorite kind of dates.
Leaving the house or not leave the house?
Not leaving the house. Stay at home and just watch a movie, have a couple drinks, and go to bed.
Because
I was going to say,
it's $19.99 for Amazon and Apple TV, YouTube, so yeah, it's all there. You get the extended minutes for 20, but
it's like buying tickets. And I think this is going to be the new way that movies are digested. The fact that it has kind of underperformed. I looked up on Box Office Mojo the domestic box office for 2024 in general. When we previewed this year, one of the things that we were talking about is, I don't know if there's going to be a $1 billion movie this year. And so what do you guys think? What's been the number one movie so far this year?
Grossing?
Yeah. Domestically.
You have to give me some movies to pick from because I can't think of what came out.
You hated it, Charlie.
Oh, Dune 2.
Dune 2. $282 million. So double that domestically. It's over $500 million right now, which it's fine. Now, number 2, I'm pleasantly shocked at. It's Godzilla Kong.
Really?
194 domestic, and it's making a killing in the foreign market. Then Kung Fu Panda, Ghostbusters Frozen Empire, and then another surprise, Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes. Those are the only movies so far that have grossed over $100 million.
People aren't as inclined to go to the movies as before. We've talked about this a few times in this podcast.
Yeah, but look, that list tells you they like spectacle, which is what I thought Fall Guy was going to give them.
But if you can wait, this has set a standard where we can just wait.
Yeah.
And do it. So is this a problem? This is a huge problem. If you work If you work in the movie industry, if you're a fan, it's probably not a problem. You can watch it at home. But if you make movies for a living and need to generate some sort of money from them, you're not going to get as much as you can. It costs 2 tickets basically to watch The Fall Guy in this home. And I have about 4 or 5 people who will watch it, and 3 of them aren't paying a ticket, right? So instead of $50, they're getting 20. That would happen in many places. Hey, I'm just going to order the movie. Why don't you guys come over and watch it?
When you say the movie industry, are you talking about movie makers? Or are you talking about
anybody who?
Now, see, I think this is hurting. This is hurting the distributors, as in the movie theaters themselves.
It's also hurting if you're Universal Studios and you put $300 million into this and you've only gotten about $150 million back, you took a loss. It's not just the theaters. The theaters may get less tickets, and I understand the popcorn, things like that, they won't get to sell because they get a portion of it. But if you put that much into this movie and you only got half the money back, and you're banking in 3 weeks later on streaming that families will pay per person, which they're not going to, that's a problem. I think that's a huge problem for the industry. I think, like you said, people are only coming out for big events. It's not going to hurt Deadpool and Wolverine at all. because people are going to show up for that because you don't want to be spoiled. And that fan base is just excited about it. They'll pull up like Godzilla. They pulled up. Inside Out 2, yeah, that might have people waiting. That might have, because remember, if I'm going to see Deadpool and Wolverine, I'm going to go. If my kid wants to see Inside Out 2 and they're young enough, I can say, I'll just have them, listen, wait 3 weeks. It'll be on Disney Plus. And they'll wait because I don't have to really go unless I'm really, really invested in it. So certain movies I feel will get people in theater. Certain movies will not. That's my opinion.
So I'm a little conflicted only because I happen to live a 5-minute down the road from a fantastic movie theater. They actually just increased their prices to $10. So, wow. So like I'm looking at the other movie theater down the road from us. It's $18 for a ticket and a service charge on top of that. So it's almost $20-something a ticket for a movie. And like I said, the movie theater by us, I would rather go pay. Well, it depends, because you were talking about the Fall Guy. If I said, hey, Leo, do you want to go watch Fall Guy? So that's just the two of us, because I know the other people in my house generally wouldn't come. It's not going to be a draw. Hey, want to come over to the house to watch Fall Guy? No, I would much rather go pay the $20 at the movie theater than to pay the $20 to watch it in my living room, if I was inclined to do that.
I looked up all the movies coming out from now to the end of the year, and I tried to think of which ones will this not affect and which ones they won't. I made a list. I'm going to pitch it to you real quick.
Okay.
Here are the ones that I think this will affect, as in less people would
they're
go
that
they're counting on, right, because of the fact of what we're talking about. It'll be soon. I just went through the ones that I kind of knew what they were, because there's so many movies. Protocol 7, I put Bad Boys, Inside Out 2, I think it'll affect. Twisters, I was on the fence with that one. Harold and the Blue Crayon, Borderlands, which is based on the video game, the Mufasa origin story, Joker, Alien, Romulus, and Venom. I think all those might be affected by less people going to the theater to see them because they feel will come into streaming soon. Out of all the movies coming, I came up with maybe 6 that I think it won't affect. People will actually show up for. I put Deadpool on that list, obviously. I put The Exorcism on that list because I'm realizing young teenagers like to go see horror movies a lot, and they really show up. And these things don't cost as much to make, and kids like to do it. I've watched my daughter and her friends do it enough. Like, I'm not running out for it, but there's other people out there. Despicable Me 4, I think will get people to come out. Yeah. Despicable. I'm sorry. Despicable Me 4.
You put the emphasis on the wrong syllable.
Yes, I did.
What do you hear the crazy thing about that, Ms. Richardson and Mr. McDonald? I've actually seen the first 3 movies in theaters.
Really?
So now you have to go to 4.
Yeah, I've coincidentally seen all 3 of those movies.
You got to hit a grand slam.
Yeah.
I put BeetleJuice on the list, but that might just be hope. But I think BeetleJuice might be affected. I'm not sure with that.
Oh yeah, I think BeetleJuice will be affected.
No, because I also thought the same thing about Top Gun. Some of these nostalgia things I can't really call. Gladiator, I think will get people in theaters.
Yeah, because that's going to get the middle-aged dads. That's the same Top Gun demographic.
I honestly think the Lord of the Rings animated movie will get people in theaters. I really feel like that.
Oh yeah,
nerds with money will go.
They're going to pull up for that.
I actually might splurge for the movie theater down the road for the $30 ticket.
The classy, yeah.
All right, anything you think you'd switch on my list?
No, I agree with everything on that list.
Yeah,
I mean, there'll be one or two surprises. Like nobody thought Godzilla Kong would have been that good.
Yeah.
Well, you know what's so interesting? Do you guys know that Madam Web, between domestic and foreign, actually did make $100 million? That means $100 million worth of people saw that dumpster fire.
It's on Netflix. We should just watch it.
I tried to watch it the other night, but my son wouldn't watch it with me.
We should live stream watch it and do it Mystery Science Theater 3000 style.
Oh yeah, I wonder if you probably legally can't do that though.
Yeah,
we could do it on a podcast. Right?
That's right.
We just tell people
to support Netflix for nothing because we have nothing to offer.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that's it. That's it.
So we range from a moderate problem to a big problem, but either way, it's not great for movies. I mean, and this was the kind of movie that, with word of mouth, probably would have done really well on DVD.
Yeah.
So maybe it'll find its home on like regular streaming, and it'll become super popular. Before you know it, we'll get Fall Guy 2.
So for Mr. G and Mr. McDonald, I am Mr. Richardson. Thank you for listening to our podcast, taking moments out of your day to listen to our nonsense, and we will talk to you next time.